Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today, How Leading Staffing Firms Leverage Glassdoor. My name is Nina. I'm one of the marketing coordinators over at Glassdoor, and I will be your MC for the day. So a couple housekeeping tips before we get started. You can connect to audio using your computer's microphone and speakers, or you may select Use Telephone after joining the webinar. All lines will be muted to avoid background noise, and you can ask questions at any time by typing them into the question pane that you see on the right-hand side. We will be moderating this throughout the webinar, but for the sake of everyone's time, we will save all Q&A to the end of the presentation. I'd like to invite you all to join the conversation socially with us. Our handle is GD4Employers. That's at GDFOR Employers. And please use the hashtag GDChat to engage with us socially, as we'll be live tweeting throughout the session as well. So I'd like to introduce our amazing speakers for the day. First, we have Adam Bleibtreu from Creative Circle. May have butchered that last name, sorry about that, Adam. And then our very own Dan Eliasi, who is a senior account executive in the staffing agency here at Glassdoor. So Dan, I will go ahead and let you take it away for us.
Thank you so much, Nina. Adam, it is great to have you. I really appreciate your time today. For all the attendees, Creative Circle and Adam have been working with Glassdoor for coming up on a year and a half, which has been very exciting, seen some great results. And one of the benefits of working with Glassdoor is you receive a dedicated account manager like myself. So someone to meet with monthly, bi-monthly, make recommendations, optimizations on your account. And Adam and team work very closely. So a quick look at our agenda for the call today. We're going to walk through today's candidates and their decision-making process, how job seekers use Glassdoor, how staffing firms use Glassdoor, Conversation Spotlight, Creative Circle, Adam and team, and then Q&A. How we successfully attract talent today has changed. We know job seekers behave much like consumers. With more access to information than ever before, job seekers are now carefully considering their choices. In all realms of life, we rely on peer opinion when making decisions today, which is why we all go online before we buy anything. We know Google Search, Amazon, TripAdvisor, CNET, et cetera, et cetera. We know 81% of shoppers conduct research online before buying. 7 out of 10, 70% seek out reviews before purchasing. Even for relatively insignificant decisions, we do a ton of research first. When buying something online, we go to at least 3 websites before purchasing and making that final decision. Think about the kind of research we do before making an incredibly important life decision like choosing a job. On average, job seekers use 18 sources to research before applying. That's a lot. Job seekers today want to learn critical information about a staffing firm before choosing to work with them, interviewing, or accepting an offer. They want a window to learn what it's like to really work with your staffing firm. People want and expect transparency today. We have lived in a reviews culture for a long time, and just like the companies you see here, Glassdoor seeks to empower through information and transparency. People consult all types of online sources in many realms of life, which is no surprise why people rely on this information to make important decisions about where to work. Issues of trust are relevant to both employees and consumers. After all, every employee is a consumer today, and we as a culture are more likely than ever to consult the opinions of peers before making important decisions about where to spend our work life. So we know that 75% of all individuals turn to peers before making their own decision about a brand. We've heard it before. It's who you know, not what you know. You'll turn to your friends, family, colleagues, and ask their opinion and experience about a number of things. If you don't know anyone within a company, you have the opportunity on Glassdoor to learn how people view their work environment. Because Glassdoor offers candidates such unique information, we have both active and passive candidates on our site. Active candidates might be using Glassdoor to actively search for new roles or just prepare for an interview, while passive candidates might be looking at a competitor's salary reports or checking out a company that just reached out to them on LinkedIn. We've all had the LinkedIn recruiters reach out. This is a great place to do research. No other website is more frequently used by job seekers throughout the decision-making process than Glassdoor, and there's a strong reason for this. Where you work is one of the most important decisions you're going to make in your life. The reason for this is where you go to work is one of the most important decisions about time spent in the office, your second family, your coworkers. You see these people more than almost anyone else. So it's no surprise that candidates are ending up on Glassdoor regardless of where they found the job they're interested in. They're here to do the research in order to make an informed decision about their next career move. This applies to whether a candidate is looking at your staffing firm as a company they're considering working with, wanting to work for, or a client is deciding whether or not they want to hire your firm to help fill open recs, internally and externally. So now we're going to look at how job seekers use Glassdoor. People want an inside look at what it's like to work with your staffing firm. They want to know will this firm help me prep for interviews? Are they going to help me find the best positions for my interests and help me negotiate salaries and benefits? This is where we have a strong employer brand come in. Your company reputation affects decisions by clients and candidates when it comes to deciding whether or not they want to do business with you. It's just that clear. With a very transparent, contextualized view of what it's like to work with you and your firm, candidates will self-select out of the application process if your firm doesn't offer what they're looking for. This results in 2 times better applicant quality, which at an average 30% lower cost per hire compared to traditional job boards, which benefits you in 2 ways, both as a firm looking to hire internally and as a firm looking for new clients and candidates to place externally. First piece of this is if you're a firm looking to hire internally. We know that 69% of active job seekers are likely to apply to a job if the employer actively manages the employer brand. So that means responding to reviews, updating the profiles, shares updates on the culture and work environment. What is it like to really be a part of that culture and work? This stat speaks volumes because an employer brand is your reputation. It's your culture, mission, and values, and your people, and your brand is defined and driven by your employees day in and day out. So, developing an effective employer brand is the foundation of an effective recruitment strategy, especially for staffing firms. I can't emphasize this enough. I think all of you can agree that with a powerful reputation comes quality candidates. Your employer brand is your reputation, and if you don't define it, someone else will. With the rise of social media, your message is out there whether you want it to be or not. And I'm not saying ignore this message that is out there. Part of your employer brand is about the sentiment of potential applicants. What do they think about your brand? Current applicants, what's the process like? And employees, what's their day-to-day like? However, it's important to add your perspective and also measure progress over time with your employer brand. This is where Glassdoor separates itself with a 2-way street, not just one-way communication. The second piece of this is if your firm is looking to gain more clients or candidates. This is on the external side. Your employer brand matters here too. As I said earlier, clients and candidates are looking at this before deciding to do business with you. Clients are going to your profile to see who you are as a company, what you value, what your missions and values are, and how you treat your employees. They want to know they'll be in good hands and working with a firm that they know they can trust. A rating, reputation, and your marketing information helps them feel more comfortable. Same goes for candidates. Let me paint a picture for you. A recruiter from Company X reaches out to me about an awesome job opportunity. If I've never heard of Company X, don't know anyone who's ever worked with them or for them, my first move is to hop on a Glassdoor and see what past candidates have said about their experience working with Company X before I decide whether or not I want to work with them to find my next position. This is due to the fact that more than half trust content provided by employees as a source of information on a company. And in this case, the same goes for content posted from your placements. It's a great way to help other placements or potential placements understand what it's like to work with your firm. So how do you engage with these job seekers? Your people are your biggest brand asset. I can't emphasize this enough. They are the most powerful voice in your arsenal. Employees rank among the most trusted influencers when communicating about their company's engagement and integrity. In fact, employees are 3 times more credible than the CEO when talking about working conditions. Think about that. Everyone in your office, outside of the CEO, is 3 times more credible to current applicants, people you're going to place. For your overall consumer brand, identifying champions within your organization is huge too. Creating brand ambassadors is huge. These are the people who will be your true champions and carry on your company message truthfully and wholeheartedly to those who are interested in becoming part of your team. When employees share content, it receives 5 to 10 times the amplification rate than brand shared content. So engaging these individuals is imperative to hiring the talent you need and want to help grow your business and generate revenue. The other piece of this are the people that you placed. Who better to share their experience about having what it's like to work with your recruiter? This is the inside perspective that potential clients and candidates are looking for, and they're going on Glassdoor. Moving on to how staffing firms use Glassdoor. People working for you at corporate or franchise offices. Secondly, a place to showcase your reviews, photos, company updates from people you've placed, and impress prospective clients for business development as to why you should choose to be their staffing firm of choice. And then lastly, why job seekers should choose you to help get placed. There's a lot of staffing firms out there, but your reputation and all the information you have on Glassdoor are going to help them feel more comfortable choosing you over any other staffing firm. So there's a number of ways you can begin to brand your company as a staffing firm of choice on Glassdoor. A place to start is by leveraging reviews to attract both job seekers and to attract clients. When using reviews to attract job seekers, this is your opportunity to prove to candidates why they should choose to work with you over your competitors. You can do this by showcasing reviews and photos from previous placements your firm has made. If you don't have any reviews from your placements, we have 3 easy steps to get started. Ask your placements for reviews after the interview, upon hire, and a contract ends. Having reviews from candidates that you place goes a long way when new job seekers are considering working with you and your firm, and they're evaluating the type of experience they would have throughout their job search process. It's also critical for staffing firms to leverage their reviews to attract clients. Tap these reviews as testimonials to show clients why working with your staffing firm results in engaged and happily placed candidates. That's what we're all here about. Seeing this type of positive feedback will in turn encourage clients to hire your firm to fill their open recs, as well as set you apart from firms that may not have the same engagement with their placements.
Yeah.
Adam.
I want to interject briefly. Since we started working with you and your team on the enhancement of the Creative Circle page, really following a lot of the best practices you taught us, I just want to point out to the audience that's listening that we have now average in terms of page views almost 2.5 or 3 times more than the competitors we have in the space. So I can say without hesitation that an enhanced branding profile and experience for the viewers on the site have paid significant dividends for us.
I love to hear that. And I think it's really helpful, again, as we talk about the profile, the content, and really what it leads to. It's all dynamic content. We know another area where you're going to enhance your profile includes adding photos, videos of real employees that clients and candidates would be working with. To Adam's point, it needs to be authentic, and that's going to grow eyeballs because they want to see the 360 view of what it's like to work with you and get a real sense of your people and your culture. Not only does this transcend to clients and candidates, but it also matters when hiring internally. Again, these job seekers want to see the 360 view of your company. We know that 90% say it's important to work for a company that embraces transparency. Again, the backbone of Glassdoor is transparency, which is where we share as much of who you are as a company, regardless of if you're trying to attract internal hires, clients, candidates. You can also link your social channels, pull in all feeds, as well as add customized tabs, which can highlight culture, hiring initiatives, etc. These additions help strengthen your employer brand and tell your story, which is imperative in setting yourself apart from other firms. And I think Creative Circle specifically does a great job in communicating what is your unique selling proposition, Adam, and how is it different from other players in the space. It's also important to realize and highlight experiences. You can do this by utilizing company updates, touting awards and product announcements, featured reviews, etc. You want to make sure that amazing things your organization is already doing is being represented here. And these are real experience and accolades that your company is being given, which ties back into who you are as a company and why the candidate or client will choose you. Company updates are a huge part of this as well. As this a way to share what's going on behind the scenes. This really ties into the transparent overview of your company and culture and that clients are looking for in order to evaluate if they want to do business with you. If they choose not to do business with you, it only helps in the long term. For example, if you're on Glassdoor's Best Place to Work list or ranked #1 staffing firm, these are awards you want to highlight, and one that's sending a compelling message to your internal employees, as well as candidates and clients that you're looking to gain on and onboard. Lastly is featured reviews. This is where you can highlight a specific review that you want to be featured on your page. This is huge because you can highlight a specific opinion from an employee, candidate, or client that highlights their real experience working with your firm. As mentioned earlier, employers are 3 times more credible, than the CEO when talking about working conditions. So this feature is critical to really represent your recruitment brand. And of all the clients that I work with, I can tell you this is one that they love to tout, choosing the first review that anybody can see and putting their best foot forward. So we all want to know how we stack up against our competitors, which is why analyzing candidate behavior on Glassdoor in order to navigate and manage the competitive landscape is absolutely critical. You can measure demographics, profile traffic, followers, engagement, impressions on company updates. Are people really eating your content, or are you just posting it out there? You can analyze rating trends and see comparisons to competitors. Again, where are you stacking up in the competitive landscape? This is information that Glassdoor has that really no one else has in the space. All this allows you to see how to measure. This is helping organizations understand whether it's not working, as well as where they stack up against competitors and where there's room for improvement. So specifically when I work with clients, we focus on the candidate demographics. It's a great way to see, do you have great parity between male and female? Are the majority of candidates college educated? What's their years of experience look like? When we look at the overall traffic, we generally see a big increase in profile awareness when it comes to promotion of jobs. It's actually the largest catalyst to driving traffic overall. The brand awareness and competitors, always great to know where you are again in the competitive landscape. I have a lot of clients that will print this out, share with their executive staff. And then the employee sentiment. What are people saying across your organization in different locations, different titles, different roles? This helps you to see where there's room for improvement across the organization and how you can leverage that internally and externally. As a quick disclaimer, something I want to make sure to point out, some of these features are only available in select packages and part of the enhanced profile and jobs. So again, everything you're seeing here, anything with an asterisk, are only available in some select packages. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Adam and create a circle.
Thanks, Dan. Hope everybody's still awake and engaged. Here we go. Let me give you a little background on Creative Circle. We are in our 15th year of operation. We are the largest creative staffing firm in North America. We've grown to what are now 28 offices serving 35 cities in North America, including Toronto. We opened our 28th office this week in Austin, Texas. We're really a specialized staffing agency that focuses in the advertising, creative marketing, and digital space. We operate primarily on a freelance, but we also provide full-time candidates for prospective employers. Our specialties really are people that have a creative and marketing bend that would work in ad agencies, design shops, creative services departments, and companies. So we fill the gamut from account service to the user experience world, and that includes developers, copywriters, the design, the art direction world. We do motion video work, etc. So this is sort of the sweet spot of what we do and the kinds of candidates we provide to our clients. We take a somewhat unique approach to the recruitment world and to the staffing world, and that is that we work with a product that can say no. I've had the opportunity in my career to work for entertainment companies and to work for footwear companies. And if you think about a packaged goods company, you develop a product and you sell a product, and that product goes home. If you're shopping for a pair of jeans, you try them on, they're a good fit, you buy them, you take them home, you wear them. At no point in that process do the blue jeans look at you and say, I don't want to go home and be worn by Dan. I think I'm going to go back on the shelf. So the product that we deal with every day are human beings, emotional beings that have creative sensibilities. And I think as an industry, and particularly within the walls at the Creative Circle offices, we really work hard to acknowledge this with our candidates and to try and continually build relationships with them so that they understand we're in it for the long haul. We want to be a resource for them in their career. So as a result of that, career sites really matter to us, and they really matter to our candidate. In the time frame we've been working with the teams at Glassdoor, we've worked really hard to do the things that Dan's mentioned. We've created original videos. You'll see some of them in a moment. The profiles, the reviews we gather, we've built out a blog site for our candidates. These things become incredibly important to the longevity of these relationships. A large percentage of people, candidates that go into the funnel, the application funnel, are rarely, if ever, appropriately communicated with. And so silence to them equates rejection, and rejection ultimately equates to a negative connotation or relationship with your brand. So the candidate experience is the critical piece to keep in mind. Having a platform, I think we're averaging about 47,000 page views a month in the Glassdoor experience and through our branded profile. So how can we continue to use those impressions in ways that benefit not just our company, but our candidate and their experience? So firsthand testimonials about how they feel, how they can talk about our brand and our company, how we can provide them with information of how our employees feel about working with candidates, all matter. And then that package is also critical to people that are thinking about joining us and becoming part of the staffing industry. So this concept that we want to be transparent matters tremendously. Things we do every day to try and improve the process. Social media engagement. Everybody's got a smartphone, everybody's got a tablet, everybody is engaged in the primary channels, be it LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We've got accounts across the board. Yes, we've even got an Instagram account. I encourage you to go look at it, because what we try to do there is really celebrate the creative lifestyle. So social media engagement is critical. The second thing is this concept of a thank you card. We work really hard to build relationships with candidates. And in our business model, we don't suggest a candidate for placement if we haven't interviewed them face to face. So every time we meet with them, every time we interview them, we're always sending them a personalized thank you note and a way to say, hey, we really appreciate the time to come in. Our notebook, which can be reached through our website, is a curated content and video blog that really we have designed to be a resource to the creative job seeker. And then, unlike most staffing companies I'm aware of, we created a candidate advocacy corner within our notebook and within the marketing team. So we have an individual on the team whose sole job it is to live the candidate experience and to be sure that in the way our brand is represented and in the way that we're portrayed on Glassdoor and other partners that we have, we're always being incredibly sensitive and aware of the candidate experience. Specific things that we do on the site, we've called out a few of them. We're talking about how many reviews we have, how many jobs we have available, the potential for our candidates to review different categories of employment. research that we're bringing to bear, and then internal recruitment. One of the things we feel very strongly about is that candidates, creative people, should get a sense of what it's like to be on our side of the table and how happy and how engaged and how passionate our recruiters are. So we've gone out into the offices, and we've probably got on our YouTube channel 55 or 60 videos that are one-on-one interviews with internal employees talking about the recruitment process, talking about the evaluation of portfolio process, and rotating those through our site here have tremendous stickiness.
And Adam, if I could jump in here, leveraging Glassdoor and your profile, I will say, your team definitely does one of the best jobs in regards to maximizing the complete use of the landscape of the real estate, if you will. So the cover photo that you have, the video, also the why work for us section, communicating your culture, your people, how to get started, the careers that you have, responding to reviews, all of your jobs. You're literally maximizing your real estate, and I think that is another opportunity to talk about the curated content. This is a two-way communication that you have, and I think you guys have done a great job of leveraging as much real estate as possible, and I think, again, that's helped grow some of that content and feedback that you were talking about.
Absolutely, and I mean, we can move on to the next slide, and I'll keep rambling. The thing, again, I'll stress to the audience that's listening is, if you're going to develop a partnership with a team like Glassdoor, listen to them. They know their audience, they know what works, and I can say without hesitation that the marketing team here has learned from and has figured out better ways to work with our profile, our page, our presence, and it's without doubt, I think, the second largest brand touch point we have in terms of page views on a monthly basis after our own internal website, and sits a little ahead of some of our social media channels. Our heroes, the people that do what we do, are our recruiters. Mentioned it before, right before we hit play, there's two pieces of the recruiter puzzle. One is emotionally what it's like for them to work with a candidate, and this is just an example of one of the many videos we have. This happens to be a very talented young lady who works out of our Houston office.
It is a very emotional process, sitting down with a candidate and reviewing their portfolio, because it's personal. Seeing what they've written or designed, because it comes from who they are. And oftentimes you have to use a lot of passion or compassion when discussing ways to strengthen their portfolio and make them stand out. Oftentimes you have to see it from their perspective, or really understand what their goals are, so you can be a better recruiter and help them with their goals.
Bandwidth will give you a different video playback experience, but from an audio perspective, you can certainly understand what Ramsey was saying. We have one more video, I think, queued up.
One of the most incredible feelings working here is being able to close the deal and help someone find placement. When I have a candidate come to me with tears in their eyes, or call me just saying, Ramsey, thank you so much because I need this job. And I love what I'm doing. And it's amazing to feel like I can do what I love and get paid for it. That's a rare thing. And it's rewarding. It's rewarding because at the end of the day, I get to go home and feel good about what I'm doing and not feel like I'm bugging anybody, but that I'm truly making a difference in the lives of another person. And to see the great comments that people write about us online, it's something you can't replace.
So two examples of what the recruiter experience is like for us, how they feel about coming to work, how they feel about their opportunity to help people in their career path. 47,000 page views a month. We have potential candidates coming to the site. We have potential clients coming to the site. We have a large number of people who are looking to come work for us or enter into the staffing industry. So having a well thought out branded site and working on a continual basis to keep it updated, to keep it refreshed, matters. It makes a tremendous difference. And I'll try to not get on my soapbox today, but I'll reinforce yet again what I said earlier, which is that as an industry, I don't think we do a great job in building long-term beneficial relationships with candidates. So anything we as individuals in the staffing industry can do to provide information, to provide motivation, can only enhance not only the personal brand we're representing, but the category or the industry that is staffing. So next slide, we'll walk through a couple of quotes because nobody really wants to listen to a marketing guy go on and on and on. So I actually sent out an email to the team and asked for some direct feedback from our recruiters on how they feel about Glassdoor. Huge focus for candidate advocacy. It makes sense to utilize it, and we continually find people coming into our offices to interview that have experienced our brand here. We'll go one more. From Houston to Boston, it really matters to our offices that the brand that we have online matches the passion that the recruiters have in the office. We're talking about and our managers. So you can see Boston loves it, Houston loves it, and I think Project Man, we have one more, you know. So here is sort of the last thought of the day for me at least, which is you have to be true to your brand, you have to be consistent to your brand, and you have to really approach a relationship with an online presence as a continual process of evolution and storytelling. So you have to really become proactive in the communication, and you have to continually provide relevant content. You have to listen and provide feedback. If people are asking you questions, if they want to interact with your brand, you have to pay attention to it. If you've got a candidate and you're engaged with them in the prospect of pitching them, you really have to communicate with them along the way on where they are in the funnel and where they are in the process. The closer you get to the end of a project, it's a great opportunity for re-engagement. A small point that Dan made up front, but an incredibly valuable one, is that we as human beings don't make decisions on our own. We're incredibly influenced by our peer group, so referrals matter dramatically. As one assignment is winding down, it's an opportunity to bring them into another. And listen, listen, and listen. Because what your candidate population is telling you is arguably the most important thing that you can do to continue to improve and enhance your brand. All right, that's me for the soapbox. I appreciate you giving me the time to proselytize, and I think we're done.
That will conclude, the part of both Dan and Adam, and I want to personally thank both of you for joining us today. I think this conversation was super insightful, a lot of great content from both of you. So I did want to open up the floor now for any Q&A. So as mentioned earlier, feel free to type any questions into the question pane. We will do our best to answer all of them. However, if we don't, we will follow up with you afterwards. So it looks like we have a couple coming through. First question, Adam, I'm going to direct this one to you. And the question is, what long-term impacts do you believe reviews from external candidates will have on your business?
It's a great question. Reviews come in two flavors, good and bad. Positive reviews are always nice to read. They're always important to promote. They're always important to gain an understanding of. I think in the long term, the consuming population that we deal with is affected by reviews, whether you're looking for a place to eat or whether you're looking for a staffing company or you're going to check out a hotel for a vacation. Reviews matter. So positive reviews are pleasurable. It's always nice to have something nice said about you. It's certainly something we strive for in the way that we interact with clients. Negative reviews, on the other hand, are just as important. If it's a real problem that is a policy or an interaction from an internal employee to a candidate, we read every review, we respond internally to them, we have a process for reaching out to the candidate or the review poster to understand what went wrong. So I think the long-term value to both of them is it's an honest at times view into your business, and it clearly gives you as a company a way to monitor how your brand and your employees are being received by the public.
Great, thank you, Adam. Next question, I'm going to open it up to both Adam and Dan as to get difference of opinions or see kind of a collective idea on this next one. So what is the best timing to request a review from a new employee? 1 week, 90 days, or 1 year?
Oh, wow. Dan, you want to go first?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I think if it's at 1 year, they're not a new employee anymore. So without a doubt, I would say the sooner the better. I think that it's important to first make sure when they come on board, we want to secure that review. And then also later on down the road when there's a quote-unquote honeymoon period maybe wearing off. I think it's important to get them to understand, you know, a week in, what was the interview process like? What was the negotiation process like with the recruiter, et cetera? But also, you know, after that, we all have that honeymoon period. What is their feeling now as they've kind of settled into it a little bit? But to that 1 year mark as well, I think it's extremely important to continuously source feedback ethically and organically. That's what we have here at Glassdoor, and we've done with Creative Circle is a employee engagement survey, constantly sourcing ethically and organic feedback to help understand what people are saying about you behind closed doors.
In our specific industry, we place people for an assignment as short as 4 hours. And we place full-time people that have been at companies for 6 or 7 years. So you've got a wide range in our day-to-day existence. But for the most part, we try to focus on the emotional connection of the moment of employment. So if you've been on a freelance basis placed at a position, it's the first week, the first night, the first day of, that's a great time to ask for it. It's really the recruiter's call, so to speak, to whether understand that they think this candidate would be responsive to it. On a full-time placement, it's generally within the first 2 weeks.
Great, and looks like next question, Dan, I'm going to pass this one to you. If I have a limited amount of time to dedicate towards Glassdoor, what areas of focus are the best use of my time?
I think the 3 pillars that are Glassdoor and probably the most efficient for a client, someone that is working with Glassdoor, absolutely branding your profile like Creative Circle has done, making sure that you're using the most of your real estate. I would say followed by jobs promotion. That is the largest catalyst to an increased awareness of your brand, so promoting your job across the site in 5 key places. And then lastly, and probably the most important, is analytics. Understanding the quantity of people coming to your profile, the quality. What I mean by quality is demographics, education, experience, age breakdown, as well as, you know, where you stack in the competitive landscape. So those would be my 3.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Adam, seems you are a pretty popular guy today. Next question for you is, I know that you shared the recruiter's perspective, but what are you hearing from candidates about how they are using Glassdoor in their job search?
Wow. Simple and easy question. I think that candidates are looking for 2 things. They're looking for a user experience or a UI that makes it easy to navigate, easy to find, and what we've heard about the relationship that they have with Glassdoor is that the front end delivers that. Easy to get where you want to go, easy to review and look. The The second part is from our perspective, we're just a very narrow niche player in the creative space. So being able to dig deeper into a category, because different companies call the same position different things. And the way in which the jobs are presented to the job seeker, they can sort of comparison shop in a relatively easy way. And then fortunately for us, people like the way we built out our presence on the site, so they feel that it's an authentic representation of our brand, so it gives them a little insight into us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Next question. I believe, Dan, you can probably speak to this one, but I'll open it up to both of you as well. How do you distinguish your reviews for page viewers? Example of temporary employee versus internal employee reviews, as those experiences can be very different.
Yeah, Adam, do you want me to jump in here?
You can start and I'll pick up the pieces.
Great. So we rolled out a feature, I want to say about 12 months ago, where we can actually identify full-time employees versus part-time employees versus contract employees versus interns. So what we actually know anecdotally is that people are filtering down by role. So if you want to know what it's like to work with Adam and team actually at corporate Creative Circle, that's a different experience than what you can expect from working with another company and getting placed by Adam. But at the end of the day, you'll have the opportunity to break down what is it like to be a contract employer and work with the recruiters, work with them in negotiating salaries, et cetera, et cetera. So you have the opportunity to break that down and basically dissect what's the most relevant for me. What do I need to know if I'm going to be a contract employee versus a intern or a full-time employee? And especially as we have so many interns in the workspace deciding, is the right place for me to work, it's a great way to really analyze which reviews are most relevant to me, what other people are saying, because that decision is going to affect if I pull the trigger and say, yes, it's the right company for me to work for.
From my perspective, it's a real challenge on a top level, in the sense that from a legal perspective, everyone we place is an employee of Creative Circle. So the reviews from, quote, an employee without filtering, it can be challenging to determine someone that works on the marketing team versus someone we've perhaps placed as part of a marketing team at a client. The information-seeking candidate can use a filtering process that Dan's described and easily determine who's internal, who's external, who's full-time, who's contractor. But it goes back to the battle cry or the soapbox that I was on earlier, which is every relationship matters. So if every relationship that we're building as an industry and as a company with our candidates, then the reviews will reflect that, and that's the part that continues to be the most important.
Perfect. And Adam, building on that question, how does a company with multiple divisions gather reviews from each division that also reflect on your headquarters?
So we're multiple offices, one company at Creative Circle. So we pay a tremendous amount of attention to every review posted on sites. So Boston versus San Francisco, Minneapolis versus Houston. All of that data, all those reviews come into me personally. I review them personally. If it's a negative review, we have conversations and a policy and a path that we follow. Same thing if it's a positive review. So we utilize the tools that Glassdoor provides to aggregate that data and have my team disseminate it to me. As most of you are aware, we are also part of a much larger company called On Assignment, and we use similar tools. So in that scenario, across multiple divisions, I also pay attention to reviews that the sister companies are having.
Yeah, that's perfect, and I think, and that speaks specifically to Creative Circle as well as the On Assignment portfolio. And you had spoke internally about the different brands. The different divisions. When speaking about brands, and we work with a lot of enterprise companies, mid-market, and also boutique shops here at Glassdoor. We have the ability to, for instance, if you are talking about a tech company that focuses, or a staffing company that focuses on IT, but they also focus on healthcare and finance, that's where the Why Work For Us section that Adam's team has done a great job with, really you have the opportunity to speak to that and leverage that real estate. Speaking to candidates that are focused on IT, speaking to candidates that focus on a different vertical within your company, having a tab designated to that with rich media and social media integration will allow them to better understand what is it like to partner with you in that specific vertical, and how is that different from the other verticals that you manage. So that's a great question.
Great. This next one, I guess this one will point to Dan. Question is, how do staffing clients utilize reviews for internal and external placements?
I mean, Adam, you can jump into this as well. How do staffing clients utilize reviews for internal and external placements? What I've seen, again, across the board with the myriad of clients that I manage, they are leveraging and communicating to candidates in the pipeline because we know that these candidates are speaking to other staffing firms. There's a myriad to choose. I think the most important thing is directing these candidates in your pipeline to understand this is what it's like to work with us internally. This is what it's like to get placed by us in the field. So I would highly recommend that, and I see these companies do this, staffing firms, they will direct the candidate and say, hey, these are all our reviews, or this is the link to our reviews. Please take a look as to what other candidates are saying, because if you don't think this is a good fit, let's save us both time and money. What we see is that leads to a decreased time to fill, also lower human capital expenditure. The recruiting managers, the hiring managers have spent less time on candidates that have opted out, and more importantly, these candidates get placed quicker because they've done their research. What are your thoughts there, Adam?
From our perspective, it's balance. I think that critics are critical. It's part of the nature of the human condition. People are going to say negative things, particularly if they're upset or it's the heat of the moment. On the other hand, people that have had a positive experience, we're thrilled when they write something nice about us. But back to the term balance, what I really try to focus on and have the team work with is what you see on a profile page, what you see in social media, which is you can have a review that says pleasant things or somewhat unpleasant things about us, but adjacent to us, you can see a video from Ramsey talking to you about what it's like for her as a recruiter to find you a job. You as a candidate, a job-seeking individual, make your own decision. We're trying to give you as much insight into who we are as people and how emotional we are about the job we perform. So we really believe if we put forth this balanced body of information, you as a job seeker will reach your own determination as to what the company's like.
Perfect. Adam, I have one that I think will be a little bit interesting. This one is for you. How do you deal with negative reviews on your clients with prospective candidates?
After I'm done reading them and crying, you take it personally. I don't think anybody can help but take it personally. I feel bad for the person who wrote the review. I feel horrible that their experience was negative enough to cause them to write something that they felt may have been truthful and that they felt may have been warranted. I take them personally. Thankfully, we don't have a tremendous number of them. Thankfully, we work hard to get into communication with them. There are two schools of thought. One is you engage in a public conversation with them. That has features and benefits. The other is we reach out behind the scenes. So anytime that we experience a negative review, we have a policy where we reach out behind the curtain individually to the candidate to make sure that we hear what they have to say and that we understand what took place. And at no point in that conversation do we ask them to revise or take down their review, but rather we use it really as a customer service tool.
Thank you so much for that one, Adam. I know we got questions a lot about dealing with negative reviews, so we really appreciate, having that kind of candid feedback loop on that. So it looks like we are down to one last question. If For anyone else on the line, if you have any other ones, please feel free to enter them now. The last question, more so directed at you, Adam, once again, very popular today, and Dan, feel free to hop in on this one. So I don't really know what recruitment brand to communicate. Do you have any best practices to keep in mind?
One more time, what recruitment brand? How to build our brand?
Yes, like your employer brand, recruitment brand.
Oh, your people. Your people are your brand. Hire great people, train them well, motivate them emotionally and financially to succeed, and make them happy every day that they come to work. We as a company interview face-to-face, 56,000 candidates a year across the country and in Canada, and every one of those interactions matter to us. So our employees are our brand, and we do everything we can to keep them happy and motivated and a representative or an evangelist for our brand.
All right. Well, it looks like that concludes the Q&A portion of the webinar. So I wanted to say a personal thanks once again to Adam and Dan. It looks like everyone else on the line, you'll get about 9 minutes back in your day. We really appreciate you joining us today. We will be sending out this recording within 24 hours. So be on the lookout for that from the Glassdoor marketing team. Other than that, thank you again for everyone joining us. Adam and Dan, it was a pleasure. And everyone have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks so much for being such a great moderator. Dan, it was a pleasure sharing the screen with you.
Such a pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.